So I want to start off this video with a preface that I'm doing the best experimentation as I can with what I have. As I wouldn't call this a real experiment. It's more of just a curious analysis of how different quantities of glue and water act, and in the end result, how different types of glue perform by themselves. So without further ado, let's get started. To start, I decided to make a few different mixtures of PVA wood glue and water. This is actually interior Pro-Bond wood glue. It is the mixtures I made was 1 part water to 2 parts glue, 1 part water to 4 parts glue, 4 parts glue to 1 part water, 50-50, and just plain glue. And I did also try Gorilla Glue wood glue. To compare the 2 different types of glue. After letting those dry, I decided to take a razor blade and peel them off the melamine. So this is the 50-50 mixture. You can barely see it. It is smooth. The texture of dead skin, maybe a little finer, and it does not stay together. It's very brittle and flaky. 4 parts water, 1 part glue. I highly doubt I'll be able to get this up. So that is extremely fine. I can barely get it up, and it's like the consistency of flour. This is 1 part water, 4 parts glue. Oh yeah. So this is fairly easy to pull off a big piece. I do still have to cut under it. I would say that's the first couple of glues did not chip up very well. They stayed. The first couple of water mixtures tended to flake off like dry skin. They didn't stay together. The most interesting thing was the comparison between the yellow wood glue, the Pro-Bond Elmers, and the Gorilla wood glue, and the very different properties they had. The Gorilla wood glue is much more flexible and almost as a type of saran wrap. You could stretch. Although I put the marker down first, the glue picked the marker up and pulled it to the surface. Interesting. This is just plain wood glue. As you could tell, it's laid on pretty thick. There's a good piece of it. It seems that this is more on the plastic side, and it's definitely much more flexible. I can bend it and it stays together. So the strength quickly adds up as it gets thicker. Now, the reason this is probably so strong is just because it's thicker. I don't think adding water affects the actual strength. It just affects the drying time and the thickness. This took longest to dry. Cool. Pretty cool. So this is a big sheet I was able to pull off of here. It's actually very interesting how big of a sheet I was able to do. And interestingly enough, it's much smoother on the side it was drying on to the air. This side is actually microscopically pitted. It's very hard to tell, but it's definitely rough. And that's probably from the melamine not being perfectly smooth. But the melamine definitely does not bond to it. What interests me the most is this transfer of marker to it. That marker was written on the melamine, not on the glue. And as I put the glue on, it seems to transfer. So that's very interesting. And it's almost got a type of hide. It is very still very brittle, but it's almost got a feeling of a I'm not sure what you'd call it, a hide of an animal. It's got that color too, but animal hide is not this brittle, and it seems that some places the molecular tension on the edge, the edge tension is very strong, and in other places it's very, very easy to break. Right there, it's fairly strong, and you see it broke on the other side. I'm sure if this was double the thickness, it could possibly even be used to make a drum head of some sort. You see it's very strong right there. Right here we have Gorilla Wood Glue. Now, the Gorilla Wood Glue came out thinner just because I think it was newer, and this other wood glue I have has been sitting around a while and it's thicker. But this is very cool. This almost feels like that stuff, and it's very, oh wow. Now this is a big difference. This is very stretchy. This is a very big difference. This is very big difference. This is very stretchy, and this is almost like that pre-water protector you would put underneath your tent, that clear tarp you would put to keep the water out on the inside or the outside, however you like to do it. Oh wow. This is incredible actually. This is so much different than the other wood glue. I can't even tear it. Well, there it goes, but look at how stretchy it is. Ready? It's like plastic. This is crazy. That is actually very interesting. This is really cool. I was not expecting this to happen. That's crazy. Look at. I'm pulling really hard. That is insane. One explanation could be that this is type 2 water resistant and this is interior wood glue. I'm not sure why there would be a difference, but there's a big difference. Originally I wanted to see how adding certain amounts of water affected its, I guess, adhesion properties. But what I found out is that it doesn't really matter how much water you add, it only affects the thickness. So if you add a lot of water and you keep adding layers and layers and layers and letting it dry, it's going to be the same as just adding a thick layer of wood glue. The water just thins it out, as you would expect. After doing all those, after taking all of those observations of the different mixtures and the different types of wood glue, I just wanted to see how long of a sheet of wood glue I can get out of these two types. So I laid out the rest of the Gorilla Glue I had. It's really cheap stuff. It's actually just $1 for that small bottle. And I laid out a good long bit of that Pro-Bond, and I let those dry overnight. let's try this one. This one has already started to come up right here. Wow. I wasn't expecting it to work that well. Oh, fuck. Oh, I broke it. By folding it. Fairly clean cut though. And nothing really happens. Now I'm fairly curious to see what other types of glues would do if put to this test. We have a brittle wood glue. We have a flexible wood glue. There's nothing special. These are just the wood glues of these brands. This doesn't really tell you anything about strength, but it does tell you a little bit about how they may function molecularly. After scraping off the Gorilla Glue actually does not lift up the marker like the wood glue does. So that right there, that tells you there's some major chemical differences between the two. Whatever it is, I got no clue.